Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good afternoon, First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips hanging out with you on this Friday. Hopefully you've had a great week so far, and I hope that you have some weekend plans because we have a beautiful forecast and we also have a lot of fun happening in mid-Michigan. So that's what we're going to be talking about with those holiday events that are coming up this weekend. We'll have a look at those forecasts, and we're also going to be previewing Thanksgiving because I know a lot of you have some travel. And the one thing though that I want everybody to keep in mind is that we are going to give you a preview of some Thanksgiving travel and what we are watching in the long term. I want you to continue to check back in, even though you're seeing it about 6 days out. 6 days is a lot of time for us to see some changes. So we want you checking back in with your First Alert weather team, keeping an eye to the app. Just make sure that you're staying connected with the forecast because there are going to be some variations. I know there's already going to be some changes that come, and I have even had some family reach out saying, hey, what does next week look like? Are we going to have a lot of snow? Well, there's going to be a little bit of that forecast change that you may see on maybe some social media, and then we see something completely different because, as I had mentioned, a lot can happen in about 6 days' time. But as we get started here this afternoon, I want to start with our live camera because we do have some clouds and yet some sunshine that is there. So that's going to be something that we have to kind of deal with here for the rest of the day today. We've been seeing some variable skies. I've had some better sunshine at times, but overall it hasn't been full sunshine today. So we would like to see that, but at least even with the cloud cover that we do have, it is dry outside. So that's going to be the good news for the events that we have coming in tonight. So make sure that you are still having that First Alert weather app up and running on your phone. In case you don't have that, here's that QR code. When you have that downloaded, of course, it's free to download on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, that you can just stay on top of forecasts like I had mentioned, Thanksgiving next week. And even if you're going to be going to some of these local events, you'll be able to have all your weather taken care of by the time you get there. So we are looking forward to having some fun here and kind of keeping an eye to that forecast. But as we get started, you are going to be finding that our holidays in the heart of the city forecast is looking wonderful. We have dry weather and temperatures are going to be starting out into the mid 40s by the time we get into the 5 o'clock hour. I believe that the lights, those are going to be turned on around 5:45, but I believe 5:30 is that time frame. So of course you can also get a look at that at WNEM.com. I know we've had a lot of coverage on that. I'll actually see if I can bring that up here, but I'll at least show you the website so that you can go and find that article for some of the latest info that we have. But kind of back to the forecast, temperatures are going to be falling into those 40s and eventually 30s. So we'll start to see the 30s closer towards 7, 8 o'clock, and we'll have some sun or some cloud cover, some breaks in the clouds to allow for some clearing. So that's why temperatures are going to be dropping, but overall it's a pretty comfortable night. So if you are going to be going to downtown for the fireworks or just any and all events, you will have a pleasant forecast. I still, though, would have the winter coats while you're there, even though our winds are going to be on the lighter side. You still are going to find that with 30s, hats, gloves, just make it a little bit more comfortable. So just kind of dress for the weather, but at least you don't have to wear your rain boots and you don't have to pack an umbrella when you're going to that. Also happening this weekend on Saturday morning is going to be the Midland Santa Parade. I also believe Midland is doing their Cocoa Crawl this weekend. So there's a lot of holiday fun to be found in Midland. So if you're going to be going to the parade lineup actually starts at 9 o'clock. So we have 30 degrees in for that. So if you are taking a float and you're waiting for those temperatures to warm up before the parade steps off at 10, just dress warm for that. We will have some sun, some clouds kind of going back and forth, pretty variable, kind of similar to what we have for today, but at least we have still dry weather. So I'm sure Santa is going to be pleased with this forecast. One thing, though, he might not be thrilled with is that there's not a lot of snow in the forecast for this weekend, so it might not feel exactly like home in the North Pole, but we're happy to have him here in mid-Michigan. We're happy to have him in town, and I know he's going to have a busy day because we do also have the Saginaw Christmas Parade. Continuing on with the heart of the holidays in the heart of the city. So if you're going to be going to that parade, that's going to be just after the Midland Parade. So Santa's going to have some quick travel in between the towns. So we will have temperatures around 10 a.m. at about 34 degrees, and then at 11 o'clock about 37, and even eventually by noon about 40 degrees. So though that parade may not quite get us to noon, we are going to find that temperatures warm up, that sunshine doing some of that heating, but we will find that it is still going to be comfortable, mild temperatures trying to roll in for the weekend. I even have some 50s by the time Sunday arrives. So overall, very nice, comfortable, not really helpful for the snow. If you're looking for kind of that festive vibe with snow, we don't have that in the forecast. So kind of keep that in mind here when we look towards the weekend. As we bring up the weekend forecast, you will see that it's nice and dry. I do have a hint of a little bit of rainfall, so I want to talk about that in a little bit. But we will have our temperatures that are going to be warming up into the 40s as we go throughout the day tomorrow. And you can see a little bit of cloud cover coming closer towards 8 o'clock. So that's why we will be watching for kind of a hint of that rainfall to move through. In the forecast for Saturday, we have partly to mostly sunny skies. So you may find at times you're kind of going back and forth. You have some better sun and then some clouds do roll in. Sunday, you can also see that we still have that sunshine coming through with that mostly sunny icon. Temperatures also getting into the 50s. Though the winds are light on Saturday, they do position themselves out of the southwest. We'll be seeing those around 5 to 15 miles per hour, and that also is going to allow for us to have some heating coming in from the southwest. So that's why we are going to allow those temperatures to be climbing into the 50s here for the weekend. Now outside right now, we are going to be finding that we have some variable cloud conditions, just like what we were looking at in Birch Run a little bit ago. So we have kind of that band of clouds that's setting up right in between the Tri-Cities and Flint. So we're kind of seeing that just north of I-69. We have a little bit of better clearing in Bad Axe across Huron County that stretches over towards Ogama County, and then in Standish, Gladwin, Houghton Lake, we're seeing some of that sunshine, to where other places we do have some cloud cover. So it's thankfully some thinner clouds, so it's still allowing for some sun to come through. And the good news is that it is dry. So if you are getting ready to prep for some of those holiday events that you might be going to, you are going to find that we still have a drier forecast. But we still have to talk about that Thanksgiving week that's going to be coming up. We're also going to be looking at kind of that rain chance that I have in for Saturday night. So we are going to take a quick break, get all of those details set up, and we're going to be right back in 60 seconds. Welcome back. So we are going to be hopping a little bit deeper into that weekend forecast, because we are going to have just a hint of some rainfall. We've been watching this, and it's pretty tricky in the forecast. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Chris Eastlick and I were saying yesterday, it kind of looks like we might be threading the needle for some of our communities tomorrow on if we see that rain come in. But thankfully, again, tonight, dry weather. We cannot stress that enough, that it's going to be a wonderful evening to get out and enjoy some of the holiday events that we have. We still are going to have some clouds coming around, but even with the cloud cover, at least we don't have to worry about rain. So it is going to be a comfortable evening outside, and we still find that we actually have some clearing. We have a little bit of adjustment with kind of that northerly wind you can see trying to set up Saturday morning. Throughout the day, we will be finding that we have some sun, some clouds, so kind of going back and forth on our Saturday, but still dry weather. Now going into the evening here at 6 o'clock, I still don't have a lot of rain in the forecast. We're still keeping it dry for your Saturday night date night if you're going to be going out to dinner, but I am going to kind of push this ahead in time, because we were kind of watching shortly after dinner to see a little bit of rain, but that has kind of dried out into the forecast. So kind of take a look here at the top right hand corner. Oh, and it looks like it is cut off a little bit. Let me see if I can back this up so you can kind of have a hint of that in the forecast. It doesn't look like it. So let me take our graphics full screen. I want to kind of get it set up to that keystroke here. So that you can see what we're working with in the forecast. So you can see kind of in that right hand corner there, top right hand corner is where we have a little bit of green showing up. So I have seen some weather models that are taking this rain chance coming kind of across the Straits in Mackinac, staying north, and kind of sweeping that across our northern counties and then through the bay and into the Thumb. Then I've seen others that have just been keeping it further north to where we don't have to worry about rain. So I'm kind of keeping that rain chance in that sits at about 15 to 20%. It's not just really a great rain chance for us, but not everybody's even going to be seeing rain. I think if you do want to pick up on some water, you're going to have to be in Roscommon, Ogama, Iosco, or Huron County. So we are talking just a few of our communities that still have some rain that they may need to keep an eye out for Saturday night, but it's still not going to be widespread. It's also not going to add up to a lot of water, and you can see the chances are not all that high. But again, I do still have some data that signals that that chance does still exist. So that's why I'm keeping it in your first alert forecast. Now, kind of going back here, we are going to at least keep that cloud cover in, but during the night, we still will find that it dries out. So even that rain chance, if we are able to pick up on that on Saturday, it's going to be pretty short-lived. So Sunday morning, we're back to dry weather. We have some sunshine that's trying to poke through, so we'll continue to see during the day some sun, just a few clouds come around. The cloud cover does build in a little bit better into Sunday night, but we are going to be seeing that, it is dry. So this is a nice stretch of weather to maybe go and have those Christmas lights, put those up. I'm going to download that holiday lights forecast because I already have seen quite a few people. They do have their holiday lights out, but not everybody. I know when I've driven around, I've seen so many more lights, and I get it. We got to wait for Thanksgiving yet to come through. But for folks who are really trying to kind of get that head start or want to use the mild weather to their advantage to hang up the lights, you are going to find that we're giving you that green light bulb, and we have that on bright mode. So you are going to be finding in the next 4 days some good weather to hang the holiday lights, get those inflatables up into the front yard. So we have a nice forecast to make it easy and comfortable for you to get the holiday decorations up outside. As we go into Thanksgiving, of course, we will see a little bit of a variation, kind of a difference coming into that forecast. So I am going to give you kind of a sneak preview here of this system. So as this comes through, we do have some rainfall with it. And I actually do want to kind of hop in here to really dive into this because I know there's a lot of holiday travel that comes in. So I'm going to kind of sneak through a little bit ahead into the models. So this is Tuesday morning. We can see that we have that rain setting up and that comes through. What we're watching is kind of a secondary round that tries to pick up going into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning with some rain. So I'm kind of wondering on 2 rounds of rain to start. So that would be going Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. So we actually would have, when that second round of rain comes through, that would help us to transition to the backside of the storm. So once that backside of the storm comes through, we'll be sourcing northwest winds. And that's why we are starting Wednesday. You can see a little bit of lake effect further north, but also we could see some lake effect further south coming in on Thursday. So that's why we are watching a chance for some lake effect going into Thanksgiving Day itself. Now this model only shows that we really have the potential for picking up on that lake effect Wednesday going into Thursday and only into the Straits and Mackinac, just kind of coming into northern lower. But overall, I am still keeping an eye on the center of that storm because I'll also pull up another weather model here that's kind of in that long-term forecast because this is where we can see some pretty large changes. Oop, I don't want to go in that fast. Let's analyze this a little bit better in slow motion. So I am going to, again, jump ahead in time here to Tuesday. So we see that that rain sets up on Tuesday coming through. So that's the one thing that's been pretty consistent across a lot of our weather models. And then we're still going to be seeing, this one was interesting, the American model here that I'm looking at, because this one had a lot of dry air in it. So typically in a storm, once it starts to weaken and it occludes, we see dry air come in and then it kind of wraps around the center of the storm. So this one really shows a lot of dry air in place once that rainfall comes through on Tuesday, and then we see that on Wednesday. But here it's still populating a little bit closer to that cold front. You can kind of see that here around the Chicago area, that line of green there. That's where we are finding that front starting to set up. So once that cold front passes, that's where we can kind of pick up on a second round of rain going into Wednesday. So still Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, we're really not talking a lot of snow at this point. So if you're worried about travel, I want you watching this storm here because this is going to be the one that you're probably going to see a lot of posts about, and also it is going to be influencing travel with that time frame of the middle of next week. But right now in mid-Michigan, I'm not seeing, for folks who are driving or whether you have family flying in, I really am not seeing too many weather impacts when I'm looking at the data on Tuesday or Wednesday, because we're really looking at being on the front side of the storm, so that would mean rain in the forecast. But we will see that that dry air tries to come in early Thursday. We're talking the first couple of hours of Thanksgiving. And then as it comes kind of around, we see some colder air come in. So the one difference here in this weather model is that it is trying to bring more lake effect. So that is also because the center of the storm is further south compared to what we were looking at in our first weather model that we just had a few minutes ago. That was the European model. So what we're seeing in the difference between the European and the American model is kind of that low placement to be a little bit further north or south. So if we have some differences, that's why I want you keeping an eye to the forecast, because I know that these are going to change. I know that they're going to be shifting north and south, and that's really going to affect what we see next week. So a lot is going to happen when we're monitoring this system for 6 days. Plus, this system hasn't even made it across the United States. It's not even completely developed yet. So we haven't even sampled it. We haven't even sent a weather balloon up to really get a good taste. We're just kind of looking at the big picture here, but because of holiday travel, I wanted to give you that preview. So something to be mindful of is that if we have that lake effect really setting up across the entire western portion of Michigan on Thursday, of course, then we may have some snow that really picks up. We're no strangers to lake effect. We all know how it works. We're all familiar with it. We even experienced it earlier this month. So that's why we are just watching this forecast to really see. Lake effect is something that can bring up some bands in just a few miles, and 6 days out, that's nearly impossible to know where those bands are going to be setting up. So if somebody says, oh my, the southern half of the state's going to have a lot of snow and that's going to be along 94, that's not a clear picture right now. Sure, there's a signal for it, but I could also show you data that shows that that doesn't happen too. So that's why I want you keeping an eye to the forecast and also just double checking a lot of your sources on where you're grabbing your weather. That's why we're being 100% real with you here at the First Alert Desk, so that you can know what you can anticipate for next week. And right now, we only have the big picture. We're 6 days out, so we're going to be able to fine tune that as it gets closer. So make sure you're checking back in on Monday. Of course, we'll be here doing our live stream at about 2:45 again, so we'll have another update. But even as we continue on to see the system, once that kind of passes through, we'll still have some cold air on the backside. So I will monitor for some lake effect going into Friday. That's just something to kind of keep in mind until we finally see that wind shift. But then going through the weekend, I don't want to get too into that weekend because I've seen a lot of differences here. So I don't even kind of want to give you the big picture, because even the big picture is almost as clear as fog, which is not very good at all. So that's why I'm going to have some patience for you there. But just kind of keep in mind that the main component is that Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe, we are going to be finding that we have some rainfall come through. We have to experience the dry slot, so we have to experience some drier air, and then once the cold front itself passes, that's going to kick on some lake effect, the backside of the storm, and that's where we do have that snow potential in for Thanksgiving. So keep an eye to this forecast. We're not going to be going and giving the official numbers. We can't really do a snow map right now, but at least you have a preview of what we're watching and some of our expectations going into next week. So just kind of keep that in mind here, that we are going to have some of those variations, and that we do just stress that we want you checking back in on that First Alert forecast. As we look at the next 7 days, we are going to have our temperatures even today climbing back into the mid to upper 40s. We dropped down a little bit on Saturday, but we will be finding that we have that hint of rain chance. That is Saturday night, temperatures highs around 42, and then 50s. We have that in for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with that low pressure system coming in. It brings in some mild air. We're able to kind of source conditions out of the southwest. So we are going to find that 50s are possible, but once that cold front comes through, we really drop it down. We can see 30s, and we may even see those numbers drop towards the holiday weekend. So if you have some plans that take you outside, maybe you're going to be doing the turkey trot, kind of keep an eye to those conditions if you have some outdoor plans here through the holidays, and of course for travel. But with us still being over 5-6 days out from Thanksgiving, there's a lot that can happen and a lot of changes coming through. So it's mainly, though, that low pressure system, it is going to have a couple of days of impact that we are watching. So with us having a lot of travel on Tuesday and Wednesday, just monitor that First Alert forecast. Again, having the app, that's going to be a great place to kind of keep an eye to those conditions. Now, again, if you are going to holidays in the heart of the city tonight, we hope that you have a wonderful time. We hope that you're able to enjoy the weather and have some fun. If you're going to be going to a lot of the holiday parades that we have tomorrow, it'll be a little bit cooler, hats and gloves. You'll want to have those on, but also have your sunglasses ready for the weekend. It is going to be a beautiful weekend, mainly dry weather, and if you need to clean up some leaves, you can do that too, or if you want to put the holiday lights up, it'll be pretty mild for that. So we're very much pleased with the first alert forecast and the conditions that you can expect this weekend, so hopefully you're able to get outside and enjoy them. Now, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Chris Easley, he's going to be in tonight at 9 o'clock. He'll have another update on everything weather and what we're watching, and then also going into next week, just with the holidays and with that travel time frame, we are going to be shifting and doing a lot of our live streams at about 2:45 p.m. So make sure you're checking in with us in that time frame so that you can keep an eye on that storm system, especially if you are traveling or if you have family that's going to be coming into town. But I appreciate you hanging out with me here this afternoon. Again, you can catch us at WNEM.com and on the TV5 News app. And if you're going to be traveling, you can still, if you have a Roku Fire Stick, Android or Apple TV, you can download the app and then you can watch us there. And also we will have updates at the WNEM YouTube and Facebook pages. So we will be streaming to those products as well. But thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.